review of what we were working on today. If I had a group of stars and you wanted to figure out what portion of the stars have been crossed out, there are several ways you can do it. The first thing is you want to see, first of all, we're going to write it as a fraction, what would the denominator be? So you want to see how many stars there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 5 would be 20. So my denominator will be 20. Let's take a look and see how many are actually crossed out. We've got, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 stars out of 20 that have been crossed out. So that is my fraction. Now, the next thing I need to do is make sure that I simplify the fraction. So I'm going to use my divisibility rules. And one of the easiest ones is to take a look and see if both numbers end with an even number, then you know it's divided by 2. So let's just give that a try. 14 divided by 2 and 20 divided by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. So my fraction is 7/10. So 7/10 is equivalent to 14/20, and that shows how many of the stars that have been crossed out. Next thing I want to do is take the 7/10 and I want to change it to a decimal. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to give myself a little more workspace. I'll work down here. So it's 7/10 and I want to turn that into a decimal. Well, 7 divided by 10 is really what this is saying. So I have 7, I'm going to put that in my division hut, divided by this 10 here. So how many 10s are in 7? Ooh, can't do it. So I'm going to change it so I can make it a decimal, so I'll have less than a whole number here, and I can add a 0. How many 10s are in 70? Well, there are 7. 7 times 10 is 70. So when I look at this, it's 7/10. This equals 7/10. How would I change that to a percent? Well, I would take my decimal and move it over 2 spots. 1, 2. But there happens to be nothing right here, so I can add a 0. So 0.7 is the same thing as saying 70%. So there are different ways that I can express how many of these stars have been crossed out. I can originally say, well, there are 14/20s have been crossed out. I can simplify that and then say, well, 7/10 of them have been crossed out. I can change it into a decimal by saying 7/10 has been crossed out. And then I can change it to a percent by saying 70% of these stars have been crossed out. And that's just a review of what we were working on today. The relationship between fractions, numbers, decimals.